Hello, Cross Church. This is Pastor Dan. I don't know about you guys, but this cabin fever stuff is starting to set in with all this social distancing. I'm not sure what to do with myself anymore. I'm starting to go crazy. I'm sorry, I had to do that. No, it's me. I'm here. I'm losing my mind having to sit at home. And I'm sure you guys are starting to feel the same way too. But we want to give you an update on how we are doing here at the Cross Church. And I am joined here on Zoom with Michael and Joel, and we'll start with Joel. Joel is going to give us an update on how the Cross Church is doing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dan. And absolutely, just like you said, there's a lot of people who are really starting to wear down a little bit. The novelty of being home is starting to wear off, and people are getting a little bit stir crazy. So that's been the general theme, but people are so appreciative of just individuals reaching out and reaching over across their yard. One of the things that was really unique that we heard as a story was just as much as the church is experiencing this frustration, our neighbors are feeling the same thing. And so they're starting to come out and they're starting to sit in their yards. They're starting to crave human interaction. And what we've heard is the really tremendous opportunity to just start talking to your neighbor in a different way. One of our attenders was yelling across the street today, and they were getting to know their neighbor on a different level. And it worked really, really well. And in that moment, she was able to encourage her neighbor and just talk about Jesus a little bit. I experienced the same thing with one of my introverted neighbors. He came out and he was desperate to talk to people. And so we talked for a while. And what we're experiencing is the same exact thing where the world doesn't have an answer to how do we connect. And this has been something that the church has known for years. We connect through relationships.
Mm-hmm. And could you tell us, how to keep in contact with one another, or how to offer help, or, what are the best ways for us to do this during this time?
Absolutely. Thanks, Dan. The best way is to join a small group. We've got lots of small groups going on right now, and the way to join them is just through Zoom. Zoom's our new interactive conference call that we're using right now to record this little meeting. It's very accessible and it's very easy to just put onto your phone. From there, if you're interested into a small group, we've got 3 and 4 just different small groups going on. So if you're interested, we've got plenty of space because we're not met by the same restrictions that we have before. So we can have lots of people in a small group, and this is the best way to stay connected right now.
I'd like to say a word about, one of the best ways to stay up to date and informed with everything that's going on here at the Cross Church. I know we mentioned this in our last video, and I'll say maybe just a little bit more about it in this video, and that is through our website, thecrosschurch.com, which you're probably watching this video from. In and on this website, you'll have everything you should normally have with the church functionality, except for personal one-on-one interaction, which, as Joel said, we'll get that through the Zoom app, which, by the way, on this website, just somewhere on it to your right, I think, there is a link to download the Zoom app, just to make it a little bit easier for you. But I want to encourage you guys. So on Sunday mornings, you can go and watch a video about the announcements. You can also click right underneath that and you can read the weekly announcements. You can also watch the sermon from there. You can click right underneath the sermon and read the passage for that week. You can also give your tithes and offerings right there on the website, just by clicking Give Online, and it shows you how you could text to give, or even at the church today, we received in the mail several people giving their offerings by check. So that information is there for you to be able to do that. There's also the means for you to be able to send us a prayer request, just by simply when it says prayer request underneath, there's 2 sections. You can click send us a prayer request, or you could click to pray for requests that have come in. There's 2 categories there. And so this is a great way. Oh, by the way, we're going to be adding this week, or it's probably there already if you're watching this video, a way for you to be able to participate on the Sunday Bible classes. And so underneath the Bible class category, you just click on the class that you want to participate in, and it will take you to that. So, so this really is a great way for you to interact in all the aspects of church, just in a digital way. And we're really trying to encourage everybody in our church to utilize those resources to the fullest extent. And I want to encourage you to do this. Let's say you know someone in our church that doesn't have access to the internet, or maybe doesn't have a smartphone. You could reach out to those people and invite them to your house, and you could have a Sunday, as long as you don't go over 5 people, I suppose. Or but there are some family members who don't have internet, and they're meeting at other family members' houses to interact and have church that way. So those are some ways that we can continue to practice social distancing and have church at the same time. I want to turn it over to Michael. One of the things that I was thinking about this week was, because it's all digital, there's the disconnect from us feeling the necessity to continue to participate in the same way that we have. And my fear is that over the next couple of weeks, a lot of members may become lazy Christians. And that's not a good thing. And so, Michael, if you could take it away on that point.
Well, I don't have a puppet, so it's just me. And I want to make just a comment before I try and address what Pastor Dan was talking about. This is incredibly awkward, talking on a video camera. You start to become aware of all the things that you do. I think I've touched my face probably 14 times already. And so it's really interesting, the things that you start to discover about yourself as environment like this, being on camera, trying to speak. I was talking to Pastor Dan the other day. Both of us are people who, it's actually much easier to get up and talk in front of people than it is to stare at your face on a camera. So that said, though, this is a unique experience. It's a different experience. We're able to connect with each other. We're even able to share things from God's Word with each other in a different manner in this digital format. And I was thinking it's interesting how God has allowed these things to happen when we have these technologies, because this really forces us to adapt to different circumstances. It forces us to think through our daily lives differently, even how much we wash our hands and touch our face and do different things. In that, though, God has been constant, and God hasn't changed. And the things that we discover in the Bible about the character and the very nature of God, those things are consistent and true, no matter what has happened and changed within the world and in our environment and our personal circumstances. So I'd really say we have an enormous opportunity here to teach and preach and talk about the consistency of God. Talk about his gospel message, that good news. And the method by which we talk about it and share, though, has changed, and it's different. So I'd encourage you to take this time to be creative in the way that that this circumstance is forcing us all to be. We're all being very, very creative. We're looking at, how can we communicate with you? And I do want to communicate about the church and the things that we're trying to still do behind the scenes, but really take advantage of this opportunity, the uniqueness of this setting, to continue to pursue Jesus.
Yes.
And that opportunity is just absolutely enormous. And as I'm speaking here, I've realized I probably haven't answered any of your questions, Dan. Do you want to jump back in on this issue, and we can add some clarity if we need to?
Yeah, I just want to really encourage you, even though you're sitting at home, you're not physically going to church, I want you to really tell yourself weekly, we're still the church. I'm still part of the Cross Church, and as such, I need to be faithful at doing church things. And when I say church things, I mean faithfully attending the service, faithfully attending, praying for your other brothers and sisters in Christ, faithfully giving to God, faithfully reaching out to your community to share the gospel. These are things that we want to remain as faithful Christians in during this coronavirus pandemic that we're living through. And also want to mention this. This coming Sunday, the passage is just a gospel-saturated passage. And this is a wonderful opportunity to use the social media platform to encourage people to hear the gospel. This is going to be a sermon that draws people into the gospel, encourages people to believe the gospel. And so use this as an opportunity for you to be a gospel witness to your neighbors and friends. Whether or not they even live in Yakima is irrelevant. Get the message of the gospel out to as many people as you can, particularly in this time of crisis when a lot of people are full of fear of the unknown. This is a great time to give them the wonderful good news of Jesus Christ and the peace that God can give them, even in times like this. If there's I don't think there's anything else for us to cover at this time. I want you guys to know that we love you. We miss seeing you, that we are praying for you daily, and that we are doing the best that we can to reach out and contact through text message and phone calls and emails to keep in touch with you guys as much as possible. Get used to some of these videos. We'll try to keep you updated on as things happen. So God bless you guys. Thank you. Love you. Can't wait to see you next at the Cross Church. Until then, have a good day.